Well, here we go again. It's Brian, and I got a hammer, and I'm hammering the globe. And I made a few notes. I usually don't make notes, but all those people that are talking down the flat Earth and telling everyone who has become interested in what the flat Earth really means to give proof that the Earth is flat. Well, I want the globalists to give us proof that we have a globe. And so I throw a challenge down to the globalists. Give us proof. We don't want any of the shonky pictures that NASA produces, but we'd like you to give your proof that we're actually living on a globe. Now, I want to go back again to the history of Western culture, and indeed the history of Western thought, and we cannot exclude the most influential piece of literature ever to have existed, and that is the Bible, because the Bible actually is the foundations of a great Western and European culture. Starting with Genesis, which established a methodology that science, or so-called science, got a piggyback ride on. Whitehead and Oppenheimer both said if there had been no Christian era, there wouldn't have been a establishing of modern science as we know it. So anyhow, we just leave that aside for a while and go back to how one derives authority. And philosophically speaking, authority is difficult. But once you accept revelation, that the Bible is divine revelation, speaking from the cosmos to man, telling us everything, speaking from the heavens, the stars, the sun, the moon, earth to man, you have a beginning. And I'm afraid, unless you've read widely and understood the history of Western culture and Western thinking, you won't be able to follow this. So you've got to go away and read more, because you have to read the history of Western philosophy, the history of the Judeo-Christian church. You have to read church history, and also be very aware and have read carefully the Bible. And that doesn't mean just reading the New Testament and the Psalms, by the way. That means starting with Genesis and finishing with Revelations, because it's a complete work. And I make no excuses for making that assertion. Right, back to my notes. We have to ask the question, who are we? And so far, I have to say that the humanist evolutionary explanation is found wanting. Go back again to how the idea of planets, the sun, the moon, the earth being pushed from the centre of the universe, displaced. None of this was accepted by the early church, by the church fathers. I believe the Bible speaks very clearly to a flat and stationary earth. That is not an earth with edges that you can fall off. That's a complete nonsense. And I can remember the late Hans Rookmaaker saying that nobody believed the earth was flat, even the Greeks. Well, I have to say it was one thing. I think that Hans Rookmaaker, all respect to him as an art historian, he got that wrong, because a reasonable creator would not create a flat earth that you could fall off the edges. That's just, total nonsense. It's not rational, it's not reasonable, it's unreasonable, it's nonsense. And somewhere along the way, a kind of mythology of the flat earth developed, and it became popular to ridicule the idea. But I'd have to say that starting with the Bible, going to the book of Job, probably Job is, yes, without a doubt, the antediluvian account of the earth, and the oldest book. I think you go use a good search engine looking for references to a flat and stationary earth. You'll be just amazed what you'll come up with. So the early church fathers affirmed the earth was stationary and flat. Martin Luther totally rejected Copernicus's new ideas, which Copernicus actually picked up from an Eastern religion with its emphasis around the sun, with its God being the sun. And it suited Rome to marry the pagan ideas with Christianity in a more sophisticated sense. That's how we got Thomism. Thomas Aquinas, with his bringing together nature and grace, his marrying of the two. The dualism that he created has plagued us ever since. Right, so, I got one criticism: don't talk about the flat earth. It's heliocentric versus geocentric. Well, some people may not even understand those definitions. Obviously, with the introduction of telescopes, more red herrings were introduced. With optics, and again, the whole story of optics is we should have a whole broadcast dedicated to the problem of optics. So we're going to leave that for now, but just going to say, lay it down now. Come on, those of you who claim you're globalists, you give us your proofs, not the stuff you've heard secondhand. You demonstrate to us how this earth is a globe. I want to hear. I'm open if you can actually give me reasoned and tested argument that this earth is a globe, because so far all I've been able to establish is I see no curves whatsoever, and I can't get to the Antarctic or the Arctic actually. I've been close to both, but nowhere near close enough to be able to. So people I know tell me that they've been there, and I've seen photographs, but there's nothing like your eyes seeing and believing. Okay, so we'll just leave it there. You can Google search the affirmations of the early church fathers, and probably the greatest thinker that the church has had, Martin Luther, or at least he's up there for the top 3 or 4 anyway. I just happen to be a little bit biased. I think Luther is just incredible, much maligned, and a certain amount of misinformation about his beliefs towards the Jews. In fact, as I read Luther, he was very much in defence of issues Jewish. So let's just leave it there now. You notice that I've changed the background for you so you can actually have a little distraction from my humble budget home broadcasting studio. But you get yourself cracking and do your research and get back onto this